Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Belief Cast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Belief Cast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swapp and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. The visionaries behind Thread wallets. These wallets redefine style and functionality. Dave Philippi from Micro Plus, pushing the boundaries of nanotechnology and scientific research to bring us cutting-edge supplements for optimal health. The Ralphs and the Debenhams, creators of Mori Nutrition and Calm. Because if you're struggling with sleep, feeling stressed, or can't focus, Calm is your answer. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. And finally, Gabb Wireless, letting kids be kids and giving parents the peace of mind they deserve. Right now, Gabb is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gabb smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gabb.com/belief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's Gabb, GABB.com/belief. Thank you to all these amazing sponsors for supporting the Belief Cast podcast and empowering us to continue spreading positivity and inspiration to the world. All right. You comfy?
I'm comfy.
All right. It's been a minute since you and I have done this.
I know, right?
It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long.
All right. Here we go. And we are back, guys. We're here with another episode of the Wasatch Way with the owner and CEO of Wasatch Recovery, Mark Richards. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love it.
Yep, we were just talking about it. It's been a while since we've done one of these, long overdue, and I'm glad to be able to do this today with you.
Awesome. I'm glad to be here. I really am.
Yeah. Today is the day of our alumni barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we do every year, obviously.
Yeah, it's one of my most favorite things we do here at Wasatch Recovery.
Yeah, it kind of reminds us when we see a bunch of these clients come back who, it's been years since they've been here, but they're doing good. They got their families, things are going well, they've got their jobs, they're smiling, they feel good.
It's amazing.
That's got to make you feel good as an owner when you see these clients coming in going, man.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, just to see them, just like you said, they bring their kids, they bring their spouses, they bring their families, and to see the joy that they walk into the facility with today versus when they first got here, how miserable and how hard their lives were. And to just see the happiness and what recovery has brought them, it's amazing.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And it's amazing. Like you see them from the time they're calling in desperation to when you see them come here years later and things are going well. I mean, you've seen them from in their worst predicament to, man, things are thriving for them.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It truly is that. And anybody in the industry knows that. But anybody out there, I mean, think of your worst days and then think of your best days.
Yeah.
And we get to be a part of that.
Yep.
And that's where, it's so gratifying to be able to see people come in such a bad place. And, you feel bad and you see these people in such a bad position. Their health is terrible. Their mental health is terrible. Their relationships are terrible. And they show back up 5, 6, 10 years later with these smiles on their faces going, wow, I never thought life could be like this.
Yeah. You know, by the way, I'm Todd Sylvester, the host of the Wasatch Way today. Forgot to mention that. Most people already assume that, I'm sure. But, you know, it was Johann Hari that said that, you know, the addiction world, recovery world has it wrong. It's the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And that's really what this barbecue is all about, is reconnecting, connecting the community, keeping them there. And we don't just do that. There's a bunch of things that we do to keep that connection going throughout the year. Talk about, you know, why you think that's so important, Mark, that connection piece.
Well, just over the years, seeing the connection in an outpatient setting, in a sober living setting, and through sober softball, through all the different things that we offer, the connection is really the support, is the way I look at it. That connection is your support. And it's, I think everybody can relate in the sense of, you know, you have your best friends in high school and you don't see them for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. All of a sudden you bump into them. It's like you're right back there in high school again.
Right.
And that's what this alumni barbecue that we do tonight is these people get to come back and they get to feel that spirit that we have here.
Yeah.
They get to see the people that made this possible. They get to see their classmates, if you want to call them that, you know, and they get to just have that reconnect. You know, it's like music. You hear a song. Heck, it came out in 1982 and you hear it and you know where you were, you know, the emotions that it brings, you know, the words, which is bizarre still to me and sometimes. And that's what we're looking for, is it just is such a great reminder for them to go, wow, look at where I'm at. Yeah. And it really is an amazing feeling.
Yeah. So how many years has it been that Wasatch has been open?
13 years in October. 13 years this year.
That's unbelievable.
Thriving still.
How many clients have come through now? Do we know the number?
About 2,600.
Dang.
And that's really not accurate. It's closer to about 3,500.
Okay.
And that doesn't include the outpatient. That's just the inpatient side.
Just the inpatient side. So yeah, you know, because we have some people that go maybe directly to outpatient because, you know, where they're at, but that's amazing.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of people affected, and like you said, the ripple effect with their families and this and that. And you know, I love the connection piece. I got to do family night this past Tuesday, and I did something that I've never done before in family night. I thought I'm going to just get out of my own comfort zone, because I kind of have my set thing I kind of do, but I thought I'm mixing it up. I'm going to get uncomfortable. And I had everyone stand up and sing this song, or just the chorus of a song by Coldplay. It Feels Like I'm Falling in Love.
Love that. And
I'm kid you not, Mark, you know, just them singing that, and I had it loud music. It was so beautiful to have everyone in unison singing that.
Love it.
You know, and you always wonder, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
Dude, people were like blown away. You could feel the joy in the room. And when they sat down and that connection was there, I reminded them, this program isn't about overcoming necessarily all the time drugs or alcohol, because that's really honestly the easier parts,
right?
In my opinion.
I agree.
I said, it's about experiencing joy again in your life. And I go, do you guys feel joy right now? Like joy. And I'm not kidding you. Family members were crying. Clients were crying. It was, the energy in that room was amazing. And I didn't know where I was going to go. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I pulled it off, because I had no idea. Because, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of that's what this whole program is about, and all the things we do to help connect, which does bring joy. When they're playing softball, they're experiencing joy. And, you know, when they come to the alumni meetings on Sunday nights, and, I mean, those meetings are so powerful and so impactful. You just go, man. So anyway, I just love that Wasatch Recovery has all these things set up for the connection piece. And we're following in line with, you know, that expert Johann Hari, what he says. We're connecting people, and we understand how important that is as well.
Yeah, no, I think that is just exactly what you're saying. I watch it, And I was able to do family night the week before.
Yeah.
And I see the same thing, and I feel the same emotions that you feel, and I see that those people in there feel it. Their family members feel it. They're actually feeling joy that they haven't felt in a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, connecting people is so powerful. And, you know, I think we can all sit here and go, okay, we could tell our story on how we got connected, or anybody's really.
Yeah.
And that connection has lasted and will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
No matter what happens from here, right?
That's cool. Yeah.
And it's, again, I go back to my high school friends. I don't see them like I used to.
Yeah.
But the minute I see them, man, it's just like we're right back there playing football, or we're playing basketball, or we're just hanging out. And immediately all those feelings come back.
Yeah.
And it's so great. So I totally agree with you. And to watch, I was going to say this. We, at Wasatch Recovery, we've got a great sober living, or transitional living, whatever you want to call it. And we have a group down there right now that are so excited to pull people along in their treatment and to create that connection with them. And they brag to me every time I go down there. And they'll say, man, we've got something so amazing here. We are pulling these guys in, and we are going to make these guys stay with us, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm going, man, that is exactly the vision of what that is supposed to be.
Yeah. We can't mention a name, but I know the guy who's heading that all out.
Right.
And I saw him at family night, and he goes, Mark's going to have to build a lot more sober living homes here because we're not going to have enough. I'm like, well, that would be nice if we really could do that. But yeah, I agree with you. We have such a good crew down there that are just so willing to reach out and make a difference in people's lives. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, to see. I mean, these are people that have been in jail, have had, you know, felonies and misdemeanors and all these things that you think, oh my gosh, I could never overcome.
Yeah.
And now you go down there and they're so excited for life.
Yep.
And it's just, it blows me away.
It's amazing.
It is. It really is amazing.
Well, you know, there's also a lot of misconceptions about treatment and recovery and addiction. And you know, I think that's what makes us different here too. We're not afraid to go against the grain a little bit.
I love that.
What are your thoughts on that, Mark, from your perspective as an owner and CEO of, you know, watching these clients when they come in? Like, because again, I think you and I think a lot alike, and we look at this probably the same way, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are some of the ones that stand out to you that are, you know, that are misconceptions that people may not realize.
I think the biggest misconception probably is that you're always going to be in recovery. That's a pet peeve of mine when people say, oh, you're going to have to live in recovery the rest of your life. Okay. So you're living in recovery. They talk about it like it's a bad thing. They talk about it like you have a scarlet letter on your back.
Yeah.
That you've got to carry around this weight of, I'm an addict the rest of my life. I think that's a huge misconception.
Yes.
In our industry, outside of our industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Once an addict, always an addict, can never not be an addict, right? I hear that so many times. Well, if you're an addict, you're an addict, and you'll always be an addict. We know, you can't, obviously if you go start drinking again, you're going to fall back into your old ways. Fall back into
it, yeah.
But it's like any other habit or bad habit, if we want to call it that. Doesn't matter if you're an addict or if you're anything else. If you go do something that you struggle with and you continue to go do it, you're going to continue, being in a bad place. And once you've gotten through that process of learning how to go through that moment and not do those bad habits, what we believe at Wasatch is you can be recovered.
Yeah.
And that's powerful.
It is.
Because nobody will say that.
Yeah.
They're afraid to say, oh, you can be recovered.
Yeah.
And addicts look at us like,
whoa.
Yep. The world tells me differently.
Yep.
Well, we can see how that happens so easily in the world today.
We were
with
talking
social
about that.
media.
Yes. Yeah.
We see it on the news. You hear it over and over and over. And I think they've done studies on this. If you say something enough, people are going to start to believe it.
Yeah, they believe it. Repetition. Just keep saying
over and over. The world has always said, well, you're an addict. You're always going to be an addict.
Your chances for recovery or being recovered are less than 2%.
Right.
And again, I know there's statistics out there. We're not denying that.
Sure.
But part of the problem is the reason why it's so damn low is because we've bought into these things, these misconceptions. I have to tell you this. You'll love this, Mark, and I wish you could have been there. This is, I think, 2 weeks ago. I was doing, I think it was House 2. I was doing a group session with them, and I said, guys, I got to tell you something that you have not connected the dots yet. Everyone in this room already, you've overcome addiction. Not one of you right now are addicts. You used to be. You have not connected that dots yet. You still think you are. But I asked in the room, has anyone used today? No. Yesterday? No. The day before? We went back like 2. No. I go, look, you already did it. And I'm not kidding you. It was like this. No one's ever said it like that. I go, I know. It was like this aha moment for them, Mark.
Yeah.
They were like going, I've never thought of it that way. And just like you said, yeah, they know enough to, if they go back to it, you're right back in it. We're not denying that.
No.
But the truth is they've overcome it. They're not going through withdrawals. Their body isn't, jonesing for it. Their mind's not jonesing for it. They've overcome it. Yeah. I go, you guys already did it. And they're like, I go, because this isn't about overcoming that so much. It's about you finding joy again in your life.
Right.
How do we get you there?
Right.
So anyway, it was so cool to watch them connect that dots. I've never thought of it like that. I'm like, yeah.
Well, and again, very few people, if any that I know of, say that.
Yeah.
They always say, okay, well, you've got this problem and you're going to struggle and da-da-da-da-da. Well, my hope would be lost the minute I started hearing that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be way too hard. This is so overwhelming.
For sure.
I can't do this. If you, power of positive reinforcement, right?
For sure.
It's your statement. The most delightful surprise in life is to suddenly recognize there is nothing wrong with you. That's your statement. I love that statement so much because there's really nothing wrong with you. You might be choosing some bad things right now. Well, who the heck doesn't?
Right.
We say this all the time. I get to say this because I'm not an addict. I always say, man, I'm probably worse than half of you guys. And they laugh and go, oh, sure. And I go, for real, I got my own struggles in life.
Yeah, what they don't realize is you have your struggles in life. Yeah. They think, oh, Mark's just got this carefree life. He's got it easy. He's got it made. He's perfect.
He's so great. He's this. And I go, no.
Yeah.
I have to work every day on my own weaknesses.
Yeah.
To me, this is a weakness that can become a strength.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Now create the strength.
Yeah, it's like to your core, you're good. You're okay. There's nothing wrong with you. That doesn't mean you don't have something to work on.
Sure.
But you're unshakably good. We see this in every client, even the ones that are just they're a handful.
Sure.
We've had a few of those lately. But they're good to their core. What I see too, Mark, is that it's the story they tell themselves about themselves. That's the problem. And they've bought into the story. Again, if we say something enough, we believe it. Even if we're telling ourselves something.
Right.
Something negative. We say that enough times, it just becomes our reality.
Right.
Right?
If somebody says you're fat and says you're fat 10 times, you're going to start saying, I'm fat.
Yep. I guess I'm fat.
And then the next thing you know, you're going to believe you're fat.
Yep.
You could be 85 pounds. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You're going to think it.
Yeah.
Because somebody told you enough to make you believe it. Now you believe it and you continue to tell yourself that.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's the saddest part of this world right now is we tend to watch too much TV and social media and news, and especially right now in the political scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Democrats versus Republicans versus independents and the way we all think and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you see these people constantly repeating negative things that they want other people to believe about others, which is divisive, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if somebody's a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you come into my facility, you're a person. And I love your guts. I do. I love your guts because I know you're a good person. I don't care if you think that way. I don't care if you're religious. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you just came out of prison and you got tattoos all over your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In here, in your core, I
Yeah.
know you're good.
Yeah.
And the problem is like you said, they don't know that yet.
I don't know that. And that's really another misconception. Like, what do we do in drug rehabs? You know, everyone has kind of the same thing they're doing. What we do here is like, we don't even talk about drugs and alcohol
No.
here. We don't talk about, here's what's going on in your brain with drugs and this. They know more about drugs than we do when they come in.
They got a PhD.
They got a PhD in that. What we're doing, like you said, we're helping them change the narrative.
Right.
Because I'll often say, and this is another misconception, they don't necessarily have a drug or an alcohol problem. It's a thinking problem.
Yeah.
They have told themselves, like you said, such negative things for so long. We have to break that cycle, help them break that cycle in themselves.
Yeah.
Once they do that, that's when they go, oh my gosh, it was when I started telling myself the truth, that I am good, that I am lovable, I am worthy, those powerful things. And so, you know, and I love what you said, Mark. You don't always, I think, because it's almost like if I go work out and, you know, they always say, here, you know, have your recovery drink your recovery drink from your workout. Well, then don't I eventually get recovered from the workout? Hasn't my body recovered from it? And the answer is yes. It's the same thing with addiction.
Right.
Once I've overcome it, I've overcome it. It's done. I'm not like, well, I'm still in recovery. What happens is I know that's the standard narrative right now. And this is where we go against the grain, people. And I know it ruffles some people's feathers because they've been told it so much. Yeah. They want to fight tooth and nail. But if they would just listen what we're saying, it's empowering.
Oh,
it's empowering. It's freeing.
Yeah, it's amazing when somebody is courageous enough to buy into the new narrative.
Yes.
And that's why we see the success is when they come in your office. And you said a great thing the other day to one of our new residents. And you said, you're not a rule breaker anymore.
Yeah.
And he went, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a rule breaker anymore. And he's maybe made a few mistakes since you said
that.
But he is working hard to say, I'm not a rule breaker anymore.
Yeah.
I'm different. Todd told me I'm not a rule breaker anymore, and I'm not going to be a rule breaker anymore.
Yep.
All he had to hear was, you're not a rule breaker.
Yep. Change the narrative, because he's always just believed, I'm a felon, I'm a criminal, I'm a rule breaker. And I just said something so simple, no more. That's done. No more rule breaker. And I'm glad you brought that up, because what I helped him do, and he's memorized it, you should ask him when you see him.
I can't wait.
Here's what he says now. He says his name, and he says, I'm one of the rare few on this planet that is strong enough and powerful enough to overcome anything so I can help other people.
Gosh, I love it.
That's his new narrative. So no more, I'm a rule breaker. It's that narrative. Because again, that's what we do here. We're here to help change the narrative. Once you change the narrative, he starts believing that. And by the way, not only is he no longer a rule breaker, he actually held someone in his house accountable for doing something which he would never do.
Right.
And he did it because the narrative, and I even pointed that out, I go, see, you never would have done this had you not changed the narrative. And he's like, I didn't even connect those dots. I go, look at that. He's like, wow. It was amazing.
I love it. I love it. And again, it's simply the narrative. Yep. Somebody telling him something different than what he's always heard.
Yeah.
He's always believed he was a felon. He's always going to be a felon. I can't do this. I'm a loser.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We can see inside.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest things we do. But going back to some of those misconceptions in our industry, I'm trying to think of what another big misconception.
Think about that I want to say one more thing along the lines we're talking about here. James Allen said this: a spoken sentence can turn the tide of history.
I love that.
How many times have we just spoke a sentence to a client and it changed their life completely? It turned the whole trajectory of their life just by speaking a sentence.
So in the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 residents have said to me, I changed when I heard this.
Yep.
And it was a sentence.
A sentence, right?
And it was one sentence, and they went, oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like you said, I'm not a rule breaker. How simple is that for us?
Yep. But for him.
But for him, it was powerful beyond measure.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it
totally.
was. He's like,
totally.
holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a rule breaker anymore.
Yeah.
And it is. It's amazing that power of words, right? And very few words at that.
Yeah. It could even be just one word.
One word.
You know, for me, when I was in the height of my addiction, struggling, I had one guy, my mentor, Rich, as you know, Rich Saunders. I can say his name. He said, I believe in you, Todd. When I didn't believe in myself. It chokes me up to even think about it today. That sentence back then was so powerful because I didn't even believe myself. And I'm like, you believe in me?
Right.
How do you believe in me? But that was almost like this fuel for me to push forward and work through my issues.
Yeah.
Work through my negative narrative. That sentence turned the tide of history for me.
I love that.
Right? A simple little thing. When I'm sitting at that table, I overhear those two girls talking about fasting and prayer.
Right.
That comment turned the tide of history of my life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be sitting here with you today had I not heard that.
Right.
Crazy.
And they didn't even know what they were saying.
They had no clue that it was going to be anything.
But you heard something that struck a chord.
Yeah.
And so another big thing that we believe here is the assertiveness and the way we do our processing in our groups is empowering to the resident to have that voice.
Yeah.
Because you are powerful and you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth that might help that person across from you.
Amen.
And it's amazing how many times a resident teaches another resident and empowers that resident to be great.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, flat out, that misconception of you're always going to have to live in recovery is a negative way to look at it.
Yep.
You can be recovered and quit wearing that scarlet letter on your back.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed. I'm not saying be ashamed to say I'm in recovery. That's powerful to say.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in recovery.
Yep.
I'll take a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I'll take a Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
You know, that's powerful.
For sure.
That reinforces a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'm recovered from alcohol.
Whew. What a power in words.
Right?
I want to share one more example if that's okay. We were doing a group. I was doing one of my groups up there in the group room. This was like 6 years ago, I think. And let's just say the client's name is Jordan. I won't say the real name. And this kid came in here. He was detoxing, so he hadn't been doing anything for like a week and a half. He was just in his room sick and just not showing up, right? His very first experience is he came to my group. So I didn't even know who he was. And we're sitting there, we're getting started. Like, hey, what's your name? He goes, oh, my name's Jordan. I said, hey. And I go, why are you here? And he goes, I can't stop doing drugs. And everyone starts kind of laughing, ha, 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 And I go, really? I go, did you do drugs today? He goes, no. Did you do them yesterday? No. Did you do them the day before? No. The day before? No. The day before? No. And I go, it sounds like you already stopped. And I just paused. And you see him kind of, and he's looking at me like, and all of a sudden you can almost see like a light bulb over his head. And I go, the problem is you keep telling yourself you can't stop, but you already did.
Yeah.
And to this day, he will tell you, he goes, Todd, I could have left treatment right there. That's what I needed to hear because I just keep telling myself I can't stop. And I'm like, you already did, dude. And he's like, oh, I never connected those dots.
Right. It is the truth.
It was amazing. I think he's going on 6-7 years clean.
It's amazing. I hope I see him tonight.
Dude, I know. It was fascinating.
And it really is fascinating. And again, these guys have so much wisdom.
Oh my gosh.
That's another misconception maybe from an addiction standpoint or people who have suffered from addiction is I'm not very smart.
Right.
I didn't achieve what I should have because I've been in my addiction for 10 years. And I watched that just control their lives, this thing that says I'm not quite enough.
Yeah.
And I know you say often on your podcasts, this is the greatest university on the planet.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
what we know about universities is it's learning.
Yep.
These guys are powerful. They have so much wisdom that they don't realize they have. They just need to find it, and we can point that out.
Yeah.
And they're some of the most brilliant, some of the most creative, some of the most unbelievable people I've ever met in my life. They just didn't know it.
Yep.
And again, you know, I think people have this misconception, oh, you're an addict. Oh, you're an addict.
Yeah.
Which in turn tells the addict, I'm a piece of crap.
Yep.
And they can't get out of that.
Yep. You're a thief, you're a felon, you are the scum of the earth, you are a loser, you'll never make, I mean, the list goes on and on of that goes along with that. You're an addict.
Right.
Right. And I'll often say, you've heard me say this too on here, addiction is the wake-up call to your greatness.
I love
It's
that.
the wake-up call. Yeah, you're struggling, but it's trying to wake you up. You're better than this, you're stronger than this, and you're going through this, so maybe you can help someone else who's going through it as well.
Yeah, I've always looked
Right?
at our addicts, if you want to, I'll label them addicts. I'll label them my clients, but I've always looked at them as the people that are supposed to serve in this world. These people have everything it takes to serve others because they've lived through experiences that most of us will never be able to live through.
Right.
And they've survived it. And they're survivors.
Oh, man.
And all they have to do is create that belief system, and now they have endless wisdom to share with people.
Yeah.
And the power that comes from them because of how hard it was, again, becomes powerful
Yeah.
to others.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, we view them as powerful, not powerless.
Exactly.
They're powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. Look what, like when they want to go get their stuff and go get high, they'll do whatever it takes. You shift that energy in the good direction, you will change the world.
Oh, man, I always say every person who's suffered an addiction's a born millionaire.
Right.
Because they just got to put that energy into something different.
Just shift it this
Just
direction,
shift it.
right?
Yeah, just shift it a little bit. But what's funny is you see their belief systems start to fail.
Yep.
In that drug area where they've got the PhD and they've got all that knowledge, man, I'll tell you, they're confident.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you, the minute you tell them to go do something different, it's like any of us. We get a little insecure.
Yeah.
We're not quite as sure. Yeah, that fear starts to creep in a little bit. I think that's another great thing that we do that a lot of people don't do is we make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We push them.
Yeah.
We push them to be uncomfortable because that's what creates that, that success.
I know. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do is just challenge everything they say. One of our clients was sitting here the other day and she had said, "Oh, I have a bad memory." And I go, "Who told you that?" And she looked at me like, "What?" I go, "Who told you that?" And finally she goes, "I did." And I go, "That's why your memory's not good. What if you started saying you have a good memory? Like, what if you just started saying that? Do you think maybe?" She goes, "I don't know." I go, "Why don't we put it to the test?" And so in 1 week's time, she's like, I'm starting to remember stuff. I go, "Isn't that fascinating?"
The power of the mind.
Man, it really is. Psychology affects biology.
I love that.
It does.
It does, for sure.
Your thoughts can make you sick, and your thoughts can heal you.
Right?
One thing I'm really proud of, and I'll tell the clients to always go ask Mark. I go, "I've been here almost 12 years. I know I had a little 8-month sabbatical, but I've never called in one sick. Not one time. Not one time in that. I've never called in sick ever.
I know.
Because I have been taught that I can tell myself that I'm healthy and strong. Not that I don't feel a cold coming on, but I can stop it in its tracks by the power of my thinking."
Right?
And I'm not trying to be weird. Anyone listen to this,
No.
you might think I'm weird, but you know what? I'm a living testimony to that because I have put it to the test and it works.
It sure does.
It's fascinating.
No, it absolutely works.
So when you get a client to start doing that,
right,
when they start going, "Oh, my mind's that powerful," yes, but your mind's so powerful. If you go in the wrong direction, it can destroy you.
100%, 100%, and that's what it's done.
Yeah.
At this point, but they walk in the door, and in 1 minute or one sentence, their life can be changed, and that's what I love. Yes, you do not have to be in treatment for a year, but we know through experience, the longer you're in treatment, the more successful you are. I don't think it's necessarily because of the treatment itself. It's the connection to
Perfect.
people.
Exactly. And that's where I totally support that. Keep yourself around a community that's doing good.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you're going to have the motivation and the drive to do good too, because you don't want to be like, well, these guys are all doing good and they're good people. I want to do what they're doing.
Right. You can see it in almost any aspect of life. If you want to be successful in business, hang around successful businessmen.
Exactly.
Don't hang around the ones that are failing.
Right.
If you want to be successful in sports, go compete against the guys that are way better than you. You're going to be better.
Yeah.
If you're competing against the people that are way less than you, you're not going to get any better.
Yeah.
And so we see it in every aspect of
For
our
sure.
life. We get better.
Yeah, I love that. Michael Jordan was asked, who could beat you one-on-one, Kobe or LeBron? Without hesitation, he says, Kobe. And they're like, why? He stole all my moves. And that's what Kobe did. If you're the greatest, Michael, I'm going to do what you do. I'm going to mimic everything you do. And then another thing Kobe said, I thought, he said, the only thing I can control is how hard I work. And I thought, man, that is so profound. So find someone who's doing it, like you just said, and go, if that's what you're doing, I'm going to do what you do. I'm going to listen to you. Hopefully you'll mentor me. I'm going to follow everything you do, because if you're happy and finding joy in life, I want what you have.
Right.
How you doing it?
Right.
I'm going to figure out, and that's what you start to figure out when you've been here, with us for a year, or sometimes even a little bit longer.
Sure.
If you need it, we're here
Sure.
for you. But at the same time, our goal is for you to go live your life and go out there and do the things you were born to do.
And I love what you said, what Kobe said, to reinforce that. All I can control is my work.
Yep.
How hard I work. And a lot of times it's human nature to give up. We know that.
Right.
That's why there's recidivism in this industry.
Sure.
Because it's hard
Right.
and you got to work.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. We're not saying it's easy to overcome. It's a lot of work, but you can control that work. And you can control that narrative.
Yeah.
You just have to be courageous enough to tell yourself something different.
Yeah.
And it's scary sometimes to say something different to yourself,
It is.
Yeah, because our belief systems are powerful. But if you can change that, I tell you what, you can change the world.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. 100%.
And we believe that.
Yeah.
And so, that's just one of the big misconceptions. And we don't need to go into every misconception in our industry, but that's
we could spend 5 hours on it.
the largest
Yeah.
misconception in our industry.
Yeah.
Is you've got to live as an addict the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I love you say that, Mark. I had a client last night ask me, because I'm 35 years clean, and she goes, do you still struggle? And I said, absolutely not. And I don't say that as an arrogant comment or a cocky. I'm not at all, because I'm putting in the work behind the scenes, if that makes sense. But again, I never wake up going, I hope I don't go to the bar tonight.
Right.
You'll never see me there, because that's not how I live my life anymore. It's not even on my radar.
Right.
I do not struggle with it anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that's another big misconception. You'll always struggle with it. No,
Yeah.
that's a lie.
It's a lie.
That's not true. Now, is it a battle? For sure in the beginning. But if you stay the course, pretty soon you look back and go, man, I learned so much from that, and it's not even a thing for me anymore.
But what isn't a battle in the beginning?
Right.
Why do you
Everything.
think we go kindergarten through 12?
Right.
I mean, we go 12 years to learn simple things.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
then you go to college and you start learning even more.
Yeah.
And it takes time to be great. Of
Yep.
course it takes
Yeah.
time, and it takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that you are what the world tells you are.
Yeah.
Be something different.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we could go on and on about these things, but man, this was a really good conversation, Mark, and I love it. And like I said, it's been a minute since we've done this, and it
I
feels
know, I
good.
love
Feels
doing
good to
it.
do it again,
It sure does.
right?
Yeah. That's great.
If there are people listening to this right now, Mark, and they're struggling, it's maybe even a former client who's gone through Wasatch that's listening right now, and they've relapsed or whatever, or a family member has a son or a daughter or a brother or sister who's struggling. How would they get a hold of you and to maybe get the process going of either coming here, or maybe we find them a place they need to go to?
Got an amazing team. We've got great people who work in our admissions, and even myself, I'm very actively involved in this business. I'm an everyday owner. I love to know all my residents. I love to help people. You are welcome to call. Wasatch Recovery's main line comes to 3 of us. You might get one of 3,
Yeah.
but all 3 of us can help, and that number is 801-901-0024. Or you can pick up the phone and call me direct or text me, and I will get back to you if I miss you quickly. But you can always call me, and my number's 801-898-7778. Feel free. You're not a bother. I would love to help if I could help.
I love that. That's amazing. Thank you, Mark. And yeah, no, please reach out if any of you are struggling with anything. If it's a mental health issue, give us a call. If for some reason we're not the right fit, what I love about what we do is we will find the place for you. So, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're getting help, that's all we want. But we do it differently here, and we do not apologize for it. We're proud of it. We do great work. We have amazing therapists, and it's great to watch them, do their thing. I think everyone here loves people on a level that's just kind of unheard of, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
and you know why I think that is because our residents tell us that.
Yep.
And that's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
I love to hear it from my residents.
Yeah.
They know that we love them, and we're passionate about what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for another episode of the Wasatch Way. And thanks for all of you tuning in. We appreciate you more than you know. We love you, and we care about you. If you're doing great, keep that going. If you are struggling, you can also reach out to me, and it'll all be in the show notes and this and that. But we're there for you, and we love you. And just remember, a spoken sentence can turn the tide of history. Hopefully, we've said something that may have turned the tide of history in your life today. We love you. Take care.